Live life. Here's a little story that may interest you. In 1565, the first graphite pencil was invented, but it was some 205 years later before the eraser was invented. So here's my curious question. Do you believe that all writing ceased until the eraser came along? And I would tell you that's absurd and a resounding no. You know, that leads me to one point here. You're going to make mistakes living life. When you get married, you're going to make mistakes. Two people coming together as one, you're going to make mistakes. You have children, you're going to make mistakes in upraising them. And life is a learning process where we learn to live, but we're still going to make mistakes. I have a friend who is such a blessing to me and so many others. He has no guile in him. He's the most transparent man that I know. And what I love so much about him, he just lives out loud. He's got a great joy and an infectious laugh. But he'll make his appearance and show up sometimes and he'll say, well, here I am, warts and all. He's not minimizing, or he's not boasting, rather, about his deficiencies, but he is a man who's comfortable in his own flesh because he realizes he is a person who is feeble and frail and makes mistakes. And I would tell you a second lesson here concerning living life. Be more intent writing than looking at the errors that you'll make. You know, I believe many people play this game of life like they play a sports game, and they are concerned, and their whole goal is they play not to lose rather than playing to win. Somebody said, a man who had terminal cancer said, if you had to do it over again, what would you do? He said, well, number one, I'd spend more time with my kids. He said, number two, I'd eat more ice cream. And so that was his theory on some of the things that he would have done differently. But be intent on living life rather than looking at the errors. We have a person that we all know, somebody like this. They're called a Monday morning quarterback. They can analyze a football game. They can tell you what the coach did wrong. They tell you what the quarterback did wrong, and tell you how terrible the defense was. They know everything about everything. Well, that's fine. Up in the bleachers, you're going to have 1,000% or 100%, whatever the percentage the goal is. You're not going to make any mistakes in the bleachers. Years ago, I knew a man who I guess had been a member of almost every church in the Ruston, Louisiana area. He knew more about church than anyone, and he didn't mind telling you what the churches were doing right, what they were doing wrong, what they could do better, and he went on and on and on, and I heard this story for many years, and finally one day he caught me, and I had become exasperated with him, and I said to him, you know what, with all your knowledge and all your talent and all your ability, you need to be a pastor. I said, and I tell you what, I am going to put myself out here. I'm going to help you start a church. Where are we going to meet? Where's the location? What time are we going to meet on Sunday mornings? Who's going to lead the music? And I said, you need to get that plan together, and I'll help you get it off the ground. He said, well, I can't lead a church. I'm not qualified. I'm not a pastor. I don't know anything about leading a church. And I said, let me hear you say that again. Well, my friend, I didn't silence him. But I do like to say that I slowed him down. You know people like that. They know everything and they don't make any mistakes because they don't participate in the game of life. Our churches are full of spectators, but they'll complain about the ones who are giving their all out there on the field. You know, my word to them would be, and I believe it comes off Mount Sinai, be quiet. Be quiet. You know, God likes how they're attempting, those who are workers, how they're attempting to do the job a whole lot more than he likes how you're not attempting to do the job. And then there's a third thing about living life. And as we think about the eraser and writing, grace is salvation, but grace is living. Do you know I need Jesus Christ just as much today as I needed him when he saved me? You may not believe that, But I know my frail humanity. I know my flesh. There's nothing good that resides in my flesh. I confess to you that I am a stumbling, fumbling, mumbling, grumbling Christian too many times. But there is grace to help in time of need. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 16 says, I need the grace of God. And you know, the Spirit of grace, the Spirit of Jesus Christ lives in me. And as I submit and yield to Him, good things happen. Good works happen in my life. And you know, I am convinced I want my last days to be my best days. And I want to live life. And I will major on the living of life and focusing on Jesus Christ rather than the mistakes. And I will let God in His grace be my great eraser concerning mistakes.